Hey again, before we start 205 Live, we want to remind you that Byte That is a fan-supported podcast. One of the ways that you can support us and get yourself a free audiobook is by signing up for a 30-day free trial of Audible at audibletrial.com/ByteThat. There are tons of wrestling audiobooks, books about video games, and more to choose from, and you can pick one to keep for free forever. Not bad, right? I use Audible every week and cannot recommend it enough. That's audibletrial.com/ByteThat. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 208 of the Byte That Weekly Wrestling Podcast, where we are going to talk about some of the worst cash-ins in history, because this is not all about Cassius Ohno, but it is about Baron Corbin, because that happened on Smackdown Live. We are still very deeply disappointed in this process, so hopefully we can really sit down, have this conversation about how maybe, just maybe there's something good to this, and we'll make sure to pull that back a little bit. You can check us out live at youtube.com/ByteThatCast every single Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. This is our SummerSlam prediction special, so the majority of the podcast will be dedicated to just that. But my name is Juan Velez. I'm from San Juan, Puerto Rico. I got with me Keith Poshik from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I got Ryan McNulty from Boston, Massachusetts. How you guys feeling? Let's get to the topic, to the nitty-gritty. Baron Corbin. He cashed in, and after okay, so here's the context. Like, the whole thing is that Jinder gets super attitude adjusted. He should be dead. And then he gets a sneak pinfall cover while his foot is underneath the rope, and like Baron Corbin's shoulders halfway up. That was a cluster. What did you guys make of that?
Now, normally in these situations, I like to give them the benefit of the doubt. But the last time something like this bad happened was, I don't know, like, remember that Damien Sandow guy and how that all worked out for him when he miserably failed at cashing in the Money in the Bank? It just makes me so sad about this situation. And that was actually, like, decent. This is way worse. What happened was way worse. I like to be Mr. Optimist, but no, there's nothing here. That was
so take
so
us back.
bad.
Take us back.
So bad.
We see that
so
Jinder's down, and then
Yeah.
you see like Baron Corbin goes out, and the crowd's kind of thinking, why hasn't he cashed in? Did you think he was actually going to cash in, or was it going to be saved for later?
Yeah, I actually thought that there was a moment where he would cash in and be like, okay, now Baron Corbin versus John Cena at SummerSlam is going to be for the title. That actually makes a lot of sense. This is kind of cool. And then we got the opposite.
Yeah, okay. So not even getting into how illogical everything was. I mean, Corbin had a much better opportunity to cash in last week than this week. I don't really understand the logic behind everything that went down during this failed cash in. So everything about this for Corbin is a complete disaster. And probably a big reason why this doesn't make sense is because they really forced this in. I think something drastic happened with Baron Corbin. They are basically saying, to me, the way this played out to me speaks that WWE is saying abandon ship on Baron Corbin. And this was the way to just get the Money in the Bank off of him. Because, I mean, why would you be in such a rush to take the Money in the Bank off of him? Even if you were deciding, hey, Baron Corbin, we don't want him to win this. He's going to eventually fail when he does cash in. Why wouldn't you at least wait until after SummerSlam to keep that intrigue there that, maybe Corbin will cash in after the Jinder Mahal Nakamura match? I mean, it leaves that element open. They didn't even want that to be a thought in anyone's mind going into SummerSlam. So I know Corbin's been very vocal on Twitter recently, kind of embarrassed himself in a lot of ways. And this looks like they're like, Baron Corbin is in a bad place right now, and the way that they executed this makes me think that is 100% the case.
I think it's a really
totally
challenging.
does.
It's a really challenging time for him though, because now going into SummerSlam, usually we've talked about how Money in the Bank winners tend to like lose their matches until they become champion. But here it's like you have to beat John Cena right now, because otherwise, what's really happening? You can beat down a beaten down WWE champion. Jinder Mahal got attitude adjusted, kicked out. The world panicked, and then he got super attitude adjusted, and then he sneaks in. So you're thinking to yourself, like, in kayfabe, this is not book or story. Like, this is Jenner should be down. He should be knocked out, and then he's able to get this pinfall cover on this brand new, clean, like not even warmed up, but he's ready to go. Baron Corbin. So then you're left with this, where it's like, what's happening here? Like, you're really wasting almost an entire pay-per-view. I understand that not every Money in the Bank briefcase holder should win the championship. We've seen it with Sandow. That was a bad choice. Big question, where's that Sandow guy right now? So when you really think about it, with the exception of guys like John Cena, who's John frickin' Cena, whenever a briefcase holder seems to like not successfully cash in, it doesn't lead to really good things, because now you look like an idiot. Even from a storyline standpoint, Baron Corbin looks like an idiot. He's trash talking on the social media, like you mentioned, Ryan. Okay, but then you can back it up. Guess what? Jinder Mahal's the villain in this story, and he beat you. What are you right now? I don't know.
And even with all that, like, if say that they are pulling the plug on Corbin as hard as they are.
Are you pulling the plug?
I'm pulling the plug on myself, apparently, but it makes me wonder, what's that match on Sunday going to be between him and John Cena? If something like that can happen to Corbin on SmackDown, is it going to be just a Super Cena slaughter on Sunday?
Sunday is going to be the thing that really paints the picture for the status of Baron Corbin. Was taking away the Money in the Bank hey, you know what? It's going to be a longer road for you, buddy, but we still have faith in you. If he gets squashed by Cena, it's safe to say that Baron Corbin is no longer a priority in the WWE.
Would you say it would be Baron Corbin's end of days?
Oh, yes, I would.
Right. And with that, we got to show some love now to the people that help make this podcast possible, because we are a crowd-funded, a listener-supported podcast on Patron. So that's patreon.com/byte that. Ryan, who do we want to thank this week?
This week, of our lovely, lovely patrons, we'd like to thank Liam Vincent, Peter D, and Tony Meyer. We appreciate you guys. Much love. Thank you guys for the support.
They're like, WWE may not love Baron Corbin, but we sure love you. And with that, before we get to all the SummerSlam stuff, we definitely want to reach out to what you guys are thinking about Raw and SmackDown Live. Remember that every week you can head over to social media, Twitter, Byte That Cast, and you can vote on our polls that we post after Raw and SmackDown. So when we first go to the Raw poll, we see that 3 out of 4. The majority gave it over 50%, stating that it was a good show. When we go over to SmackDown, this is quite the ladder. The very bottom is a 4 out of 4. I wonder why. And then for the first time ever, I think this may be the first time that SmackDown has won a 1 out of 4 poll rating. So over 35% of people gave it a 1 out of 4.
Yeah, let's put 1 in quotes there.
that is true, but what did you guys think about this going in? I know, Ryan, out of the three of us, you've been the biggest advocate of WWE needing to really make go-home shows feel like the go-home show. Like, if you didn't have the network, you got to subscribe, because you even get like a 7-day trial. Like, there's really no excuse. I'm not getting sponsored here, but it feels like these shows should have a little bit more meat packed into them, right? Did you feel like that meat was packed?
Well, maybe Keith should be the one talking about the meat getting packed, but
Raw... I don't know what you mean by that, but continue your sentence.
R/no context for everybody. Raw definitely had a go-home show feel to me, whereas SmackDown felt a little more normal. Obviously, the cash-in thing happening at the end being a disaster, sure, but it did at least have like a this is a big type of moment feel to it. Raw certainly did a much better job, I think, building towards SummerSlam, which to me overall seems like an underwhelming card.
I agree with that, where Raw definitely did feel like the superior show, but I think that's more because, to be honest, SummerSlam feels like a one-trick pony where there is one match that I'm very looking forward to, and then the rest are just kind of happening. And now that match just happens to be on Raw. So that's why Raw was the superior show this week, because it has that one match that you're looking forward to. The rest of it was all right. Like, there was definitely some cool moments with Ambrose and Rollins. And there was some pretty dumb stuff, like with Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor. But overall, decent show.
Yeah, for me, all I'll say is that I thought that Raw was definitely the more solid show of the two. Like, generally speaking, I can't say I feel more excited, but at least I feel like if the two shows, you have to really judge based on them trying to convince you. You know, like with Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt, which is a match that I still don't really care about, at least I can give them credit. Okay, you tried to sort of figure out how you can really shoehorn in the Demon Finn Balor into the show and make it make sense. I think that they tried to literally just put red paint on him, so he'll like figure it out. He'll put two and two together and go, well, may as well go all in because here's the bucket of paint. The Usos don't even wear face paint anymore. Nobody cares about the Ascension. I guess I really got to step up my face paint game, and maybe that was the logistics behind a solid Raw show. Now, we did get a very, very good feel-good moment on Raw, and I was super happy about this. Akira Tozawa has dethroned the king of the cruiserweights. And I'll say this right now, Ryan, you called this. I don't know if you just felt the energy. You tweeted about this. What sort of made you think, hey, this is the night? The night is the night.
I don't know. Yeah, I think you worded it perfectly. I just felt that energy. To me, it felt like, okay, the reason why they're doing this title match right before SummerSlam is so that Tozawa can win it, and there's more interest going into the match, you know, whether Neville can win the championship back. It just felt right to me. And I was actually really happy that Tozawa won. You know, initially I was thinking, you know, Tozawa, he's just sort of a bump in the road for Neville, and they're building somebody else on the sidelines that's eventually going to take on Neville. But I think Tozawa's build has gone better than expected. I think nobody gave this Titus Worldwide thing a chance in hell of being successful, but I think it's really starting to catch on, and people are getting more interested in Tozawa. So I was actually really happy to see him win.
No, Neville should be champion forever.
Really?
No, he should be champion forever. No. Don't get me wrong, it's cool that Akira Tozawa did win, and it's probably the right time for that to happen. But Neville should be champion forever. I'm just going to be a little complainy here and not go against the logic part of my brain and say the king of the cruiserweights should be king forever.
King of the
cruiserweights. I actually watched 205 Live, which I know that's a show that maybe not allowed. Hey, I've been watching it for the past month. Maybe I haven't said it on the podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, especially if you watch Lucha Underground. But I did watch it, and psychologically, it made perfect sense. Like, Keith, check out at least like the Neville part. There has to be a clip on the YouTube channel or something where he's just walking backstage and he says nothing. Like, he is depressed. And the way that the other cruiserweights react, they just walk on out like, I don't even want to be in the same room with this guy right now. And he just throws a chair. Like, there's this psychological thing where later he comes out on the show and states, hey, I brought prestige to the championship. And it's true. Like, on Fan Friday, we got a question this week that we'll answer about, should we get lower card championships? You can check that out on the YouTube channel. He made the championship mean something. And above everything, the character believed in it. Like, it almost felt like by having Akira Tozawa become champion, you took a part away from Neville. And he looks sick. He looks sick. He looked no big Zeke. He looks sick on 205 Live. And there's the kind of element that we complain about a lot, where there's no consequence in wrestling. You know, often characters will lose matches and not care. he's not even like ultimately upset, but so disappointed about being sick that I'm happy this is happening. Plus, it shifts the title a little bit where now it's all about can Neville
There's a wild
dethrone.
Samoans joke in there somewhere or something.
I don't even know where it is, but I'll say like I care about that SummerSlam match a lot more than if it was just, hey, let's do it again, and this time Akira's going to become champion. Now he's walking in as the champion, and I think that tells for a much nicer story to a division that a lot of people just don't really care about.
No, I agree. Joking aside, I think that this can lead to really good things for the Neville Tozawa feud, because there was a time where there was a danger that Tozawa would just be another guy that Neville ran through in his cruiserweight title hunt, and hasn't gone well for everybody else up until this point. And plus, this adds a new element to Neville's character. Remember when he first came back and he was dangerous. He had this like aura of danger around him that he kind of lost during his title reign. So now this has it could come back, which is awesome because I liked that Neville. So this can only lead to good things, and plus it gives Titus Worldwide some credibility that thankfully Tozawa is bringing, because boy, I can't even remember his name right now. The other guy in there isn't
Apollo Crews.
Apollo Crews. That's
Yes,
the name of
the other guy.
isn't
Titus
his weight.
Worldwide.
Case in point right there. Case in point. Yeah, at the very least, this lights a fire under Neville's ass. So it's going to be a much more intense matchup for that.
That sounds painful. So now, it all was
It's also a very common figure of speech.
That is also true, but it's not all sad things. So maybe Neville, he feels a little bit alone because, well, the title was part of him. But guys, it finally happened. It feels like all the fanfic, fantasy lead up, all the fan fiction about the Shield that exists online has now been cemented into Raw, because Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, they are reunited. And Ryan, it feels so good, doesn't it?
Yes,
doesn't it,
they
Ryan?
had a lovely pound. That great fist bump. That was the. I understand it was, the segment was great for what it was, and the crowd was so into it, and they were going nuts. Like, if you take away the crowd noise, that is the most ridiculous segment in the entire world.
Really
Because
is.
it's just like, it's two guys that are being little girls about a fist bump, but it psychologically, for a wrestling audience, it makes complete sense, and was a very memorable moment to have two people from the Shield actually officially reunite. So I loved it for what it was. The crowd made that work. If the crowd wasn't into it, that segment doesn't work. But because they were so into it, it was awesome to see.
Did you guys notice when Ambrose and Rollins were fighting on the outside, and somebody dropped their phone and they were just
Yes.
kind of fighting?
I kept looking at
I
the
couldn't
phone.
stop looking at that phone.
Same. I was like, what is going to happen? Is someone going to step on it?
This poor phone. But it could be really cool if this becomes a long-term thing for Ambrose and Rollins, because to be honest, they're in a bit of a rut, both of them, almost kind of comparable to Sheamus and Cesaro a year ago. But if they end up being a tag team, it could lead to really cool things. The first thing that my mind thought of was that Ambrose and Rollins could be an incredible rivals to the Revival when they eventually come back. Imagine that match. That's basically a dream feud right there. Ambrose Rollins versus the Revival. So if it leads to something like that,
Revival rivals.
exactly.
That's hard to say.
It is.
Say it
But-
5 times.
Rival revival.
You already-
Wait, not even one.
Rival revival. There, I got it. But that could lead to something really cool, and they could be the perfect people for the Revival to finally chip their teeth on in the WWE. And I hope it leads to something like that, and this just isn't a one-off thing where, hey, brought back the Shield, it's cool, here's the fist bump, and now we're gonna go back to doing mediocre things separately.
There's a lot you can do with Rollins and Ambrose together. I mean, I like that they're going to the tag division, because we've said before how damn crowded the Raw roster is with potential main event superstars. So every once in a while you get to take a little trip down the card and find something else to do. And I think this is the right time to do it. And if they stick together enough towards Survivor Series, that's when you can do a complete fan service, full-on Shield reunion.
Yeah, and like Keith, you sort of mentioned that Dean and Seth are in a rut. Like, I won't really agree with that part. I will say they were very stale as characters. I think that you can only go as far as, hey, remember when they used to be in the Shield? And, here's the crazy guy, and here's Seth freaking Rollins. Like, I think that there's something really nice to them just being in the tag division, because even if they don't get a lot of storyline development in that division, their popularity alone will make them care not just about them as tag champions, but hopefully anybody that they battle, right? Because those are two guys that people love.
You got to get the Revival in there.
Yeah,
That's
like
perfect for them.
That's
well, they got to stop getting injured.
Yes, man. Yeah. At this point, like, we're gonna talk about it in a couple of weeks about like the Shawn Michaels dream opponents. I'm just thinking that like that is almost a tag team dream match that many people don't even know they want. With Seth and Dean versus the Revival, you have the Shield's best against NXT's best tag team. And I still say NXT because they really haven't had a chance on the main roster to really showcase what they can do. Nope. They Batista it a little bit, but every time,
oh my god,
they get injured.
I'm trying to make that a damn thing.
It'll become a thing, damn it. And now I'm just gonna switch to the Damon, because gang, it's gonna happen. There were rumors that it wasn't gonna happen. That apparently Bray Wyatt maybe wasn't important enough to really warrant the Demon being unleashed at SummerSlam, but Bray Wyatt just said, this bucket of paint says otherwise, and at least it's a nice element. I think that if you remove this, it would have just been another match. I think it's cool that it's going to happen, and I would like to get your reaction. It's been a while. When is the last time we saw Demon Finn Balor?
A year ago. It would have been a year ago, and
seriously,
with the Demon being at SummerSlam, we all know how well that goes. So it almost makes me a little worried
Holy
for Sunday.
Crap. Wow!
Because I'm not forgetting anything, right? Like the SummerSlam last year was the last time, because he hasn't been the Demon since he came back, the Diamond. But while I agree, it's cool that they're adding that element to it. Red paint? No.
You mean this mysterious acidic liquid? We can't call it blood. It's definitely not blood. It's like, are you serious?
It's definitely not the same stuff Gangrel used to use for a bloodbath back in the day.
We can't even use fake blood anymore. We can't just be like, everyone knows what it's supposed to be. So why don't you just say it? It blows my mind that if you're going to do this, if you don't want blood, then just don't do the blood. Just don't do it. Why do you have to sit there and just insult our intelligence by just saying, okay, this looks like blood. We're implying it's blood. We're just not going to say it's blood, because saying, these words, like Vince McMahon, he's obsessed with these words that you just can't say, and he doesn't want people saying blood. It's the dumbest thing. It blows my mind. I don't even have anything else to say other than it blows my mind.
I agree, because you have so many angles that you can take with this that leads to the Diamond. You didn't have to take this weird blood paint route. Like, hey, to beat Bray Wyatt, this crazy man, you have to unleash your inner demon. Boom, no blood right there, sold. But they went with a very weird angle that doesn't really do anything for this. Like, maybe there's a whole like, oh, well, Bray gave Finn paint, so I guess Finn needs to paint himself now, but
it's like Finn Balor wears a lot of fur, and Bray Wyatt's a part of PETA or something. I don't really understand it.
Like, for me, I just think it had such a cool potential to actually be like a badass thing. Like, oh, look at Bray Wyatt, like, doing this. He's almost mocking him. But the commentary team, we talked about this a little bit last week about like Michael Cole, right? And the way that the commentary team can kill something, they made sure it's like, this is not nearly as cool as you think it is, because this is not blood. Like, usually it's almost like remember when the Spirit Squad got crapped on? Like, the WWE kind of just treated it as, hey,
do you mean figuratively or literally?
No, literally.
Because those are two very different conversations.
Because both did happen.
when literally they got shorted on, the way that they played it off was like, hey, you know what? Like, you're actually letting me perceive that is actual poop. When they used to have like
they did say it. Triple H was like, you guys are a load of crap. and then
Yeah, but if you
down.
notice, they never said it was. They just implied by Triple H saying that,
Yes.
and you as a fan, you can go, okay, that was it. Like when Kurt Angle did the milk truck, like whether it was milk or not, you saw the Milkomania thing happening, and it was cool. You didn't need to hear the announcer saying, that's actual milk. Everybody just accepted that is the substance that is being unleashed across the people right now. And that's why
JR
Stephanie
did
and everybody
have
else
the
is
best
swimming.
Dairy Queen joke of all time in there, so that like half counts. But I don't know this off the top of my head, but is it like a rating thing maybe where they have to kind of pull back and be like, guys, that's not a lot of blood. We swear we're still in our rating.
Just
it's okay.
Don't do the damn blood. Or you know what? Here's a novel idea. Why doesn't the commentary team just shut the hell up, say nothing, just let the segment speak for itself?
Ryan, are you playing Logic to Wrestling again? Are we really doing this?
That's not even like
Boss Ryan.
kayfabe logic. That's just a production decision, you know?
Well, you can't always get what you want, Ryan. Sorry. Not much else I could say about that. You know, somebody else that
You might
didn't
just
get.
fine.
You get what you need.
I want life and happiness here, which Lana could not find, guys. Because Lana, she could be done. Like we talked about the potential that Lana had to become one of the great. No, seriously, like does this really surprise anyone? I find this fascinating how they moved Lana from Raw to SmackDown, and they were going, okay, you know, she's actually gonna wrestle, but then they stick her with this really weird character, and then they have her wrestle and then just job out. Like she got destroyed in every match. Not on a single occasion did she look like a legitimate threat. So now she's going back to becoming a manager, which is the very thing that she was good at. So they just went back to the thing that she's good at. Like, why did they need to just do the whole thing in the middle? You know, Lana was so damn good at being Rusev's manager, this believable, serious woman, but then you turn her into a dancing machine that's not really a machine at all because she's not even good in the ring. And now you're just going, hey.
Dancing machine, by God.
And then now you're just going, hey, my bad. You know, we're just going to do the manager thing, and now we're going to push Tamina. I kind of forget about what happened because, like, maybe that didn't work out too well.
They wanted to give her a chance, Juan. That's why. She wanted to be a wrestler. They wanted to give her a chance. Clearly, you could tell that they were continuing to kind of lose faith in her as each match went on because at what was it Money in the Bank that they had their match? I believe it was Lana's first real match, and it was a women's championship match that she actually got some offense in, and the commentary team was like, you know, she kind of impressed people a little bit. And then each following match, she lost faster and faster, and they were clearly giving up on her. But from what I've heard is she's going to continue to train, and now she's going to kind of step down and just be a manager for now. But that's okay. You know, the fact that she's not managing Rusev anymore, I'm fine with, because you know what? Rusev is good. He doesn't need a manager to be relevant. But someone like Tamina, I think, does. Tamina's someone who I think in a lot of ways is underrated. Her mic skills are atrocious, and she's said a lot of weird off things that have just not made her look good, like repeating Charlotte's exact joke back at her. Like, she's done some cringy stuff when it comes to promos, but there's no denying that she definitely has some potential. And I think someone like Lana as her manager, and they tweak her character a little bit, that she could kind of hone in a female Rusev type character of just destroying people, and you have Lana behind her as the manager. There's something there to that. Tamina is a step away from being good if there's just like she goes in the right direction. So I actually like this.
I agree, and you can't fault the WWE for trying with Lana as a wrestler, because I mean, even at the end of the day, if it didn't work this time, that doesn't mean that it won't work next time. And now Lana's crossed over that threshold where she's not just a manager. Like, now it's not too far out of the realm of possibility for Lana to be in a tag team match with Tamina or something along those lines, or she's in a singles match while she continues to get better. I think even though it didn't have an immediate payoff, I think long term it actually will. But I never actually thought of Ryan's point, but I think it's actually a really good one where you do have this female Rusev potential in Tamina, where she can just be this monster, and you have this whole background of, like, especially in Rusev's early run, where it was almost like Lana's controlling Rusev and really showing him like how to be dominant and all that. Like, if that's the angle they go with Tamina, I think that's really cool, and there is definitely something there. And then maybe in the long run, while Lana gets better, she takes another crack at the wrestling side of things.
What I'll say is, being devil's advocate, there is a great story if they're willing to really lay it down. And it kind of goes back to, maybe it's Lana's fault that she tried to move away from being the serious character. Like, she as a character wanted to become a dancer and all that, failed, and then wants to find that success that, as you guys mentioned, she had with Rusev, finds within herself, like, hey, I should be ultra serious, and then brings that character in a wrestling capacity. And in that process, she actually trains to get better. So if you mesh those two things together, I think that you're able to basically almost hit the reset button to Lana, to like when she was in NXT and she was a really good character with Rusev, and then she can crush people. So if that's the route that they go, I am really happy and hoping that that is what happens. You know, like, I think a lot of times as wrestling fans, like with the Baron Corbin thing, who knows? Maybe this is going to lead to bigger, better things. A lot of times it hasn't, and that's the problem. Like, we've seen the proof. The proof is in the pudding, as another saying goes, Ryan. I know my North American references. I could try. I bring him back to Puerto Rico.
Yes, you know that big North American phrase, the proof is in the pudding.
Yes.
It is, I mean, it's
It is.
I don't know its exact origins, but you know, it's certainly a saying.
It is. Whether it's a good one or it's a bad one, it is one in some kind of capacity. And then, hey, we're talking about North America. How about we go to India? And I know that none of the three of us are Indian. I feel really bad for the Indian audience, because notice how Jinder's character has gone from, let me speak to my people, to like, I'm going to bring my people here. And we're living, keep in mind, like, we are in some controversial times right now. So like, even hearing him go like, here's my people from India, and then them getting booed was kind of like, I don't know if this is a good choice right now. This is a really bad week to be doing this.
It was 100% not a good choice.
No,
it was
there was nothing good
ever.
about it.
So let's put it this way. All right, we can look at foreign heel gimmicks throughout the history in wrestling, and we can usually make some sense of it. Where, okay, let's go to a recent one with Rusev and Lana, where they were playing into the whole Russian thing. Well, WWE was just sort of just playing into the current climate of American, you know, perception, where, you know, Russia right now, there's a lot of tension, so they played off of that. The thing is, there's nothing, you know, the USA and India, there's nothing between these countries. There's no animosity between these countries, and WWE is essentially making their audience boo Indian culture. Like, that's really messed up. Like, let's think about the fact that, okay, it's one thing if Jinder is trashing America and you boo him just for saying bad things about the USA. But then when you're essentially baiting the crowd to boo India and India's culture, I think that's taking things to another level. And it's like, you're in a feud with Shinsuke Nakamura, who's from Japan. Why are we still pulling from the foreign heel well? Can we find something else for Jinder Mahal to do? That's the thing. It's just like, there is more you could do with this guy, but they have nothing for Jinder Mahal. They're just pulling from that same well. They have no better ideas, and it's a huge disappointment that, like, there's essentially been nothing but, like, this segment was the only thing we got leading into a WWE Championship match for SummerSlam. Other than that, there's been barely any interaction between these two, and this is what they landed on, and it's pretty pathetic.
Yeah, that the championship match itself does feel very underhyped, and not even the biggest match on the SmackDown side, really. But I am curious about one thing, and I can't really speak to it. So if somebody can that listens to the show, I'd love to hear about it. But when it comes to that stuff, especially like the country pride and leaning into it so hard, does there come a point where the crowd's reaction doesn't matter? Where, yes, it's getting booed, but does like the whole the pride of India part of it just like get more press, get more reception than the Americans are booing it? Like, is that more like something to be proud of than to hate the American audience over? Like, maybe that just gets kind of blown over, and then America does America while you're still catering to the rest of the world with a character like Jinder Mahal.
But WWE is also just being socially irresponsible. Like,
Well,
it's,
yes,
it's
there's that. Like, this week is not a good week for that.
It's one thing, exactly, and it's one thing if you have your talent, your performers say things that are off color or whatever, like saying controversial things, but it's another thing when you're essentially baiting your audience into trashing a culture of another country. You're making the audience look bad, which I think was just a really poor decision by WWE.
And I think it's so interesting because WWE doesn't really tend to go down that route. Usually, like for example, take a look at the Shining Stars when they used to do the whole like Shining Stars shtick, right? Like even the commentators would go like, "Hey, Puerto Rico's going bankrupt" or something. It would be a comment, but here's the WWE champion just openly saying, "Hey, you know, let's talk about my people." But then your character's supposed to be hated, and then it's a little bit disrespectful to me, at least, how you bring in some of the culture onto the arena. And you could even tell the crowd wasn't really sure how to react initially because it was kind of like, I want to boo the character, but I mean, this person right now, that's somebody from the actual culture, right? Like, that's somebody they actually want to be able to respect. And hey, the fact that we're talking about it right now, that right there may be what WWE wants. And if that's the case, then fine. Because, like, are things getting a little bit too politically correct, generally speaking? Yes. But as we mentioned, maybe just not this week. Maybe you could have done that like 4 months ago or 5 months from now, unless the world comes to an end. But it's just something that is worth pointing out. And with that, folks, it is now time to get to our SummerSlam prediction. So we have the full match card. If you are watching and listening to us on the YouTube channel, we would love for you guys to tweet us or to comment with your predictions. Let us know throughout the whole time. You know, Ryan is going to be doing a SummerSlam review. We didn't really have a chance to talk about it, but NXT TakeOver is going to be happening this Saturday, and if all goes according to plan,
I forgot about NXT.
it's going to be pretty good. I think it's going to be a pretty solid show, and I should be posting a review. I'm not going to say I'm going to do it live on YouTube because I'm not sure logistically how I'm going to be doing then, but the whole plan is basically this weekend you're going to get those two things, and if you're on the road, fear not, because you're going to be getting that on the BT Plus feed, Byte That Plus. Just search Byte That on Apple Podcast, on Stitcher, on any podcast app you have, and you'll see that. We actually have a conversation that's similar to the Jinder Mahal thing right now, where we talked about has TV evolved and WWE not evolved? That was one of the best conversations we probably had. But without further ado, let's get to bringing up the SummerSlam card. Let's start this initially now with the Tag Team Championship match between Cesaro and Sheamus and Dean Allins. I'm calling them Dean Allins because we need catchy names.
You couldn't just call them the Shield?
No, because the Shield is three people, Ryan.
Yeah.
Mathematically, they're one person short. What's wrong with you? They're one person short, man. So let's do Keith, Ryan, then me. Let's get to predict tag team titles. What's going to happen here, guys?
This is going to be a good match. Kind of feeling pre-show for this one, but I still think it's going to be a very good match. And even though the reunion of, what did you call them? Dean Allins? Is
Yes.
Did you call it? Okay. Even though that's the big hot thing, I don't think that they win the tag titles this time. You just have a very solid match. Sheamus and Cesaro still walk out as tag champions. Everyone's happy on the pre-show.
I'm going to go with Team Sambrose because I'm not calling it Dean Allins.
Sambrose is way better.
Just
That is
Sambrose
better. That is
sound,
better.
it just flows better.
Sambrose.
So yeah, I think they'll beat Sheamus and Cesaro because I mean, this team is too OP, right? You have all that build up with them coming together. It really seems like
There are
Cesaro
still
and Sheamus.
bumps in the road for them, though.
That's true. I feel like Cesaro and Sheamus, though, that they're kind of just pawns in this like build up to getting the titles onto Sambros. So Team Sambros all the way.
Yeah, I actually expect not a clean sweep. I think that initially we're going to get like that back and forth, as you mentioned, Keith. There's still a little bit of rocks on the road, but somewhere in the match, it's just going to click, and then they're going to destroy their opponents. I do find it funny how you look at Cesaro and Sheamus, and they had a similar path, right? Where initially it was a little bit rocky. Same thing with Dean and Rollins for many weeks. So these are two teams that had a very similar route in the past 2-3 years to get to where we are today. And I fully expect them to get the feel-good moment of the night and some sort of animosity towards maybe Reigns not walking out as the Universal Champion. Because I think that would be pretty cool to see. Like, hey, we got some gold, and you don't. Now, moving on. This one I am looking forward to. Not necessarily who you think is going to win, but what do you think is going to happen in the match itself? And that's John Cena versus Baron Corbin.
Oh my God, I can't wait for this match. I don't think it's going to be a great match, but this match sets the pace for Baron Corbin's career going forward. We will know just exactly how far into the dumpster Corbin has fallen after this match. And especially after SmackDown this week, John Cena wins beyond any shadow of doubt.
Yes. I think the creative team or, Vince McMahon and the powers that be, how they feel about a particular WWE superstar is very much expressed in the results of things that go down on television and pay-per-views. And based on not only Baron Corbin losing the Money in the Bank, but how he lost it tells me that John Cena is very much going to get a decisive victory over Baron Corbin, and things may not be looking good for Corbin. So I'm going to go with John Cena. However, if Baron Corbin does win, that gives you hope if you're a Baron Corbin fan that there might still be some big potential for him in the future. But based on SmackDown, I'm sticking with John Cena.
Same here. I think that it's not only going to be John Cena. I am thinking this is going to be a very, very one-sided match where initially maybe Corbin gets a little bit of offense, but inevitably the tides are going to turn, and then we're going to see John Cena just get a clean sweep victory, and maybe they go down the path kind of similar to like Ziggler, I guess, where it's like, hey, you're becoming somewhat of a failure, but then when you bring up the Ziggler example, where's Dolph right now? Like, Keith, you mentioned it. The end of days could actually, like, fully non-joking, non-funny, this could be it for Corbin. Like, let's not forget, like, we've had multiple generations, like, go back to the Ruthless Aggression era where there's all these guys that you're thinking, oh, this is going to be the 15-year investment, and, like, half of them aren't even in the company. Remember Shelton Benjamin when he was going to become world champion? What happened to that? Oh, remember when Shelton Benjamin was going to come back, but he got injured? Like, we can't get too caught up or involved in like just one person definitely becoming a mainstay in a company, because it's not always how it works out.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of guys during, the Ruthless Aggression era especially did not work out. I think WWE's actually been pretty lucky in recent years where I feel like a lot of the guys that they've invested in have worked out, but Baron Corbin could be one of those guys that just doesn't work out. I mean, I think in a lot of ways he hasn't quite lit the world on fire like everyone thought he would. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were giving up on him.
But at the same time, it just feels like, yeah, maybe this might be a bump in the road, but this can't be it. Because think about Corbin 6 months ago when he really started getting momentum. They can't just throw that all away. Like, this might be a slouch, but I don't think this is the end of days.
Well, we'll see. We'll find out in a couple of days. So then moving on, we got the Damon taking on Bray Wyatt. Not really caring too much about this one, at least for me.
Same here. It's kind of a Bray Wyatt feud 101, but hey, we'll see the return of the Diamond. How exciting is that? And because of that, if the Diamond doesn't end up being on the shelf like last year, I'll consider this match a win. but Finn Balor wins. The Diamond returns and is victorious.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have the Damon come back and not have him win. Plus, I have made a sacred vow to never pick Bray Wyatt in any predictions ever again. So clearly my answer was going to be
choice.
Finn Balor no matter what.
Yeah, same here. I'll follow Ryan's pack just out of pure peer pressure, and say I think it's going to definitely be Finn Balor. Like, I think that, and not to be a party pooper, but the biggest challenge is that, cool, you're the demon, but once the match starts, it's all the same thing. I find that fascinating how when people see that he's coming out with the face paint, they treat it like a completely different thing. He still does the sling blade. He still does the drop kick. He still does the coup de grace.
I mean, we were talking about that back in NXT. Like, they really should feel like two different things or two different people, but they don't.
Like, it would be cool if he brought out
that different intro. It's a little bit slower.
It is, and he crawls, and those abs are definitely still showing.
Yeah.
I'll just say, it would be nice that, much like Jeff Hardy doing the WrestleMania spots, or Undertaker doing like the WrestleMania dive, whenever Finn Balor became the demon, have some kind of move that you never do unless you're like that, because then it builds up like, oh, he's becoming the demon. Oh, that means he's going to hit this move in the match. And that doesn't happen, and I think that's what's really missing for me. And then now moving on, we got ourselves a Shark Tank. And Ryan, I know there's a rumor tied to this. I'll leave it up to you if you want to bring it up or not. We have Big Show versus Big Cass in a big match with big stipulations where just Enzo suspended above the ring in a Shark Tank.
The floor is yours, my friend.
Oh, yeah, well, okay, I forgot Keith. All right, he's passing it to me for first on this one. All right. So I'll talk about the rumor in a second. They really want to sell that shark cage toy. That's for sure, because we used to never see the stipulation. Now it seems like every couple months the shark cage is popping up. I mean, Vince McMahon must have some serious buyer's remorse on this shark cage, and he really wants to get his money out of it. I mean, the whole logic of, last week, Big Cass is like, I don't even want Enzo in New York City. And then Angle's like, how about we put him in a shark cage right above the ring? And he's like, bitchin', okay, let's do it. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? All right. So I have heard, first of all, I'm picking Big Cass because they want to build Big Cass. But I saw a thing on Cage Side Seats and their little rumor report, not sure where the origin is, but that they were thinking about having Enzo betray Big Show and reuniting Big Cass and Enzo. And if they do that, I don't know if I'll make it to next week's show, is all I'm telling you right now, because if that happens, that will be the dumbest, most illogical thing ever, and the entire point of this feud and this match will make no sense at all. It would, this would be some clever scheme that he wanted to get to the Big Show and had to beat the hell out of his friend to do it. They better not do that, because it makes no sense at all.
I agree with you on that angle, where if this was some elaborate scheme and then Enzo just got the hell beaten out of him for no reason for weeks to really sell this, that would be kind of dumb. But if you look past that and think about, okay, this might be some edge that they really need. Like, imagine Enzo Amore in a heel capacity, cutting his promos, but just shit talking people along the whole way. That could be something really cool. And if that leads to there, I think that's better than whatever outcome could be if everything stays the same. So I don't think it's as bad as you said it is. It's dumb. It's absolutely dumb, but I do think that there is a little bit of potential if they go that route. But all that being said, I do think that Big Cass wins, whether it be from help from Enzo or not, because they need to push Big Cass a little bit, just a little bit
off the shark cage, because I'd be up for that happening. I'm gonna go with Cass as well, just because it's Big Show. Like, I will be insanely surprised if Big Show gets the victory, just because I think that this is really his opportunity to really pass that torch. Now, regarding the rumor that Ryan said, I really hope there's no truth to it, because it just doesn't make sense for me. Like, I really don't like what is the storyline benefit to then having, like, Enzo's already over. And then Big Cass, like, I think that maybe he hasn't really worked out to the way that they expect, but this is still happening. Like, this match right here is what should show. If you're 7 feet tall, which he's not, but let's say, hypothetically he is, show it. Like, this is the match where you show it. Big Show is in the best shape of his life. Go and have the match that Big Show couldn't have with guys like Mark Henry and all that, because they were too damn slow. You're tall, you're fast, you're agile, you're young. Get to it. This is all on them. If this match doesn't work, then whatever. I don't care about Cass. I want to be able to care about him, so I'm giving him that little bit of leeway. Then moving on, we have ourselves the tag team title match that is apparently going to be part of the pre-show, which is bullcrap. And that is...
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's the ongoing rumor right now. And that is the New Day taking on the Usos.
I take back what I said about the Raw tag team title match then, because surely both of them can't be on the pre-show, right? But I think it's time for a title change. I've gotten cold on the Usos as somebody that was in love with them when they turned heel, and especially when they started doing the whole Uso penitentiary thing. I loved them. I don't love them that much anymore, and I do think that it's time for a title change. It feels right for the New Day to win the titles. Maybe put the Ace.
The New Day are champions.
Oh. For some reason, I thought the Usos were champions. I completely brain farted there.
What?
Right. That happened weeks ago, didn't it?
Ryan, Ryan, what do you think about this match? Who do you think is going to win? Keith is
the New Day's still going to win.
Keith, you've been disqualified from this one.
That's fair. Shows how much I care.
To Keith's credit, well, not to his credit, to his defense, there was actually a time where I was like, oh yeah, the New Day are tag champions. But I think the New Day will retain here. I think this seems to be like, this will be the culmination of that feud. And from there, both teams will move on. I think things have cooled off a little bit with their build-up. But, I mean, I know these teams, they got a lot of great chemistry together. So I think it's going to be an excellent match. Fully expect the New Day to win. I want to see both teams move on to interesting things. I don't want them to just let the Usos fall off the face of the earth because they're not tag champs anymore. Because they've been really good and they're too good not to be used on SmackDown Live.
I can't freaking believe I forgot they were tag champions. It's like I watched a show yesterday with them, but yeah.
Anything else you want to add, Keith?
The Usos make better contenders anyway.
Like, hey, they're the better ones. Yeah. I'm just gonna piggyback on what Ryan said because the New Day are the current tag team champions on SmackDown Live, which is a WWE produced show. And just in case. And
I should check it out sometimes.
Yeah. Real talk, we all make mistakes. I mean, that's happened a lot. But regarding what I actually hope happens here, I think that the match is going to be good because they've all been solid. I'm not concerned about the match. I'm concerned about what happens here. Because, okay, say the Usos won the championships, then what? Like, I do expect the New Day to retain just because they are the team that really, does really good things. They're very entertaining. The only other side that I could see is that maybe the Usos win it back. Some shenanigans happen where the New Day, maybe they get a rematch on SmackDown. They don't win because notice how Breezango is going to be gone for 2 weeks. So basically they're completely going over SummerSlam based on what happened on SmackDown Live. Maybe now Breezango take on the Usos and win the tag titles, and that could happen. And I wouldn't mind seeing that.
We're not too far from that feud that they already had, but maybe you go New Day Breezango,
I think that's more
Ooh.
realistic and probably way better than Breezango.
But
That
there's
would
still
be
that
good.
mystery team that is likely going to be Harper and Rowan that is behind
Dude, if that,
all of the
oh my
Fandango.
god.
What if it's
stuff.
the New Day? What if it's the New Day that's the mystery team?
Whoa.
Right?
Whoa. You make a good point, Keith. I hope that happens now.
What if it's still just the Ascension?
See, honestly, they have grown to me to the point where I wouldn't even mind that. I would
like
love
the
that.
Ascension if they just stay as reoccurring characters in the Fashion Files and nothing else.
Yep. They are so damn good at
Or
that.
Ascension.
Man, this card is gigantic. Next we have Randy Orton taking on Rusev in a match that feels very lukewarm for me. Out of all the matches that are happening in this card, this one feels like the most SmackDown-esque singles match that you could have.
Yeah, this is a textbook example of creative has nothing for you. So go have a match, you guys. And I don't necessarily think it'll be a bad match, but it's a very nothing match. And I think Rusev wins. I hope Rusev wins. And Randy Orton continues to go into the rut that Randy Orton's currently in. But Rusev deserves more than this. And I hope this is only like a jumping off point while everything kind of settles around Rusev. And then maybe we see like Rusev go into a United States title feud or something like that.
I see this match, as much as I would love to have Rusev win this, I see this as Randy Orton walking up to the office being like, you owe me. I just lost to Jinder Mahal on 3 freaking pay-per-views. Give me a damn win. So I'm going to pick Randy Orton to win this match.
That's a bummer.
You know, I'm not going to go with that. Just to spite you, Ryan. I'm going to go with Rusev.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
That's what we're doing now for our
Yes.
predictions.
Seriously, though, how disappointing would that be? We keep talking about the potential that Rusev has. We've said that ever since he got drafted to SmackDown, and we said, yes, like there's a shake-up opportunity to really revitalize his character, and it hasn't happened. So at least if you do that, even if it's like a fluke victory or something, or at least make the guy look like $1 million. Okay, so maybe he gets RKO'd and he loses the match, but at least make it look like Randy damn near died. You know, it's almost like Triple H, Undertaker. Undertaker won, but hey, who's really walking out of the arena alive? So if they go down that route, I really have no problems whatsoever. Then let's go to the next match, which is the United States Championship match with AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens looks to become the face of America once again, and we do have ourselves Shane McMahon as the special referee.
All right, just to confirm, who's the champion in this match?
It is Shelton Benjamin.
All right, awesome. So Shelton wins, probably, and retains his title. No, I'm just joking. This is going to be a really good match. I don't see this being the end of the Kevin Owens AJ Styles feud, or if it is, then it's like a pivot point where some like funny business happens involving Shane and Kevin Owens wins back his United States Championship. But this isn't the end of that storyline. But I do think this will be like the standout match of SummerSlam. But Kevin Owens wins, becomes champion.
As much as I love both of these individuals, I want to see this feud end. In fact, I wanted to see it end at the last pay-per-view. So let's just have AJ Styles retain so that this doesn't get dragged out anymore. And I think something is going to occur between Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon. There was already rumors that they were going to go with Owens versus Shane at SummerSlam. So I think they're just pushing that to another pay-per-view. So I think something's going to go down.
They've been leaning so hard into the Shane McMahon funny business that something has to happen.
And initially it seemed like the two almost, either AJ Styles kicking Shane and then he almost punched him. And then, of course, Kevin Owens then finally kicked Shane this week. It was like, okay, we had 2 instances with AJ, but only 1 instance with Owens. I feel like the next thing that's going to go down is they're going to do another interaction between physical calamity between Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon. So, yeah. that, Owens is going to be the one who's going to be bitching at the end of this match at Shane McMahon, which is going to lead to something. So AJ will retain.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that Shane versus Owens tells a much better story by Owens not becoming a champion than by Shane almost battling and possibly becoming U.S. champion. And I think it's a really good opportunity. I think that AJ Styles doesn't need to become WWE champion for a very long time. He's an excellent United States champion. I think that he is what you'll look for the non-main champion, where he makes that championship something. Almost like when John Cena was United States champion. People cared about that championship more than the main one. I mean, look at SmackDown. If I had to ask the live YouTube chat, which current championship do you care about the most? Jinder with his championship, or I'll say AJ or Owens because they've been trading back and forth with the United States Championship. I think that the answer would be bar none, the second option. So I think that AJ's definitely going to retain. I don't know who's next up for title contention. Maybe Rusev. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Or maybe even Randy. Oddly enough, I feel like one of those two guys. I don't want to see option B, but where do you put Randy? Is the sad part.
I mean, that's kind of the Randy Orton story right now. Where do you put Randy?
Yep, pretty much. Now we go to the Cruiserweight Championship. Akira Tozawa against still the king of the Cruiserweights, just not the champion. Neville.
I think we might see another title change here. I kind of got that in my gut, where we see the we earlier we talked about this Neville, this aggressive Neville, this Neville that has purpose again and is violent. We're probably going to see that at SummerSlam on the pre-show, and then it's just too much for Tozawa to handle, and then Neville wins back his championship, and then the peasants rejoice because the king is back on his throne.
I actually think that is a very possible scenario. Akira Tozawa, he got his feel-good win, but it does feel like they did that just to have Neville win it back at SummerSlam and continue his reign. I'd be happy to see Tozawa also retain, but I'm going to pick Neville.
Damn it. Stop making sense. Initially, I was like, yes, Akira Tozawa is going to become champion, but then what's the fun? And that is the sad part, right? What's the fun part in the good guy being the long-term champion? And I can't really think of an answer right now.
The chase.
It is. And plus, with the whole thing with Apollo Crews, I know we made fun of him earlier. He should almost be brought into 205 Live, because it's be jealous, dude. You're the one that started and tied us worldwide, yet the other guy became the Cruiserweight champion.
How much does Apollo weigh?
I don't know, but dude,
he has to be well over 205.
Yeah,
guys, this is wrestling. Is Big Cass actually 7 feet tall? No,
but that you can fudge that a little more than Apollo Crews being a cruiserweight.
He's on a special diet, and magically he dropped under when under some DDP
if you're going that route, Titus Worldwide fudges the numbers or something and gets him in there as a cruiserweight, I can get behind that.
That would totally work, but yeah, sadly, no, I kind of go with you guys. I think it's going to be Neville.
In that case, they need to do a storyline where Brock Lesnar gets on a broken scale and it says 205, and then he just destroys the entire division.
That'd be so good.
He actually German suplexes the entire 205 roster in one suplex.
Oh man, if they did an angle where Lesnar was so pissed about losing the Universal title that he just showed up on 205 Live and destroyed the entire roster. Oh, that would be amazing. They did that just to boost 205 ratings.
And that is how you kill the roster. And now we have the WWE Championship match. Jinder Mahal, who's the champion, against Shinsuke Nakamura.
So this is the match that, even above Corbin and Cena, even though I'm very curious about the outcome of this match, I'm probably more curious about this one just from what happens, because it doesn't feel like the right time for Nakamura to win the WWE Championship. But Do you see a world where Jinder Mahal pins Shinsuke Nakamura? And if so, that is pure insanity. That doesn't seem possible at all, but I kind of think that's what needs to happen in this match. And Shinsuke hasn't been known, especially in his WWE run, to have the best matches. I mean, he's an amazing wrestler, but in the WWE, nothing's really stood out to some crazy degree. And is a match with Jinder Mahal really going to be any different? Probably not. Like, this match has a lot of room to just kind of stink the place up, and I hope it doesn't, but that's kind of what I'm feeling. But yeah, even though I feel like it's wrong, I think Jinder retains.
I want to go with Jinder retaining because it just doesn't feel like this is the time for Nakamura. But I'm going to go with like my first actual bold pick tonight and say that Shinsuke Nakamura is going to win the WWE Championship. It seems like super early, and Nakamura, there's no doubt about it. The fans are behind him at every arena he goes to. So it's not like the guy's not over, as they say. So I'm going to pick Nakamura. I feel like the Jinder Mahal experiment isn't quite over, although I think if I'm not mistaken, there is an India tour coming up, so I could be eating my words very soon.
Like, Shinsuke Nakamura hasn't been pinned yet, right?
No. I
His
can't
first
see
pin
Jinder Mahal
going to
being
Jinder
the first
Mahal?
one. There could be some shenanigans going down.
I love how you guys are thinking about that as Jinder Mahal is the WWE champion. It's like anything's possible. Anything is possible, guys. Seriously.
Except for Baron Corbin cashing in. That's not possible anymore.
Access
Always
denied.
next year.
I got to go with Nakamura because I don't see actually a scenario where, he doesn't win. Especially like that first pinfall should be a big deal. Now, if the whole thing is a matter of Jinder Mahal becoming a main stage champion, then awesome. But then the challenge right now is like, what is your story after SummerSlam? I think the ride has been fun. The whole Jinder Mahal ride up until SummerSlam tells a pretty cool story. Hey, here's this guy that we never thought was going to become champion. He becomes champion, brings back the Punjabi prison match. Okay, that's awesome. And exactly that. I think that the actual rivalry that we're going to get is John Cena versus Nakamura. I think that is the actual big deal that they want to do. They're going to do babyface,
He is a
Nakamura,
free agent,
Cena.
though. John Cena's that free agent.
Damn it. The problem is that
Could
you
be going
guys should
to
be
Monday
down.
Night Raw.
Fine, I'm still sticking with Nakamura, though. Then the next match, we have Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks, Raw Women's Championship. Remember, initially it was going to be Alexa versus Bayley, but Bayley is unfortunately out due to an injury.
Though this is the better of those two possible scenarios, it still feels very who cares to me. And I hope Alexa wins because I would rather see her with the women's title above Sasha at this point in time. But I'm hoping to be impressed by this match because right now I'm going into it feeling nothing.
Wow, Keith. Well, if this is the nothing match to you, I don't even want to know what you think of the SmackDown women's title match.
Now, hold on. This is not the most nothing match, but it's definitely pretty high up there.
All right.
Because this next one, boy.
Yeah, understandable. I'm actually really looking forward to this match. I liked their first encounter a lot on Raw. What was it, like? Not on Raw, but like 2 pay-per-views ago. I thought they had a really good match. So I have high hopes that this will deliver. And I would not be surprised actually if Sasha Banks won the championship here. Let her win on a freaking pay-per-view, for the love of God. Let her win the championship on a pay-per-view.
And happen.
So my pick is Sasha Banks.
I am going to have to say no, just because I feel it's a little odd how they swap Bayley for Sasha because of what happened, and then all of a sudden Alexa loses like that, because I don't think the division is strong enough, because that really only leaves the option of Sasha versus Nia, I guess, as a feud. because I don't think they will keep just stretching out. Like we've already had this match, right? Now, as I say that, we had like 5,000 matches between Charlotte and Sasha, so that's not impossible. I don't think that we're there right now. I think that the women's division, even though they have a lot of talent, they focus so much on building Sasha and Charlotte. Like, Charlotte is doing okay on SmackDown. They're not doing what I initially thought they would be doing with her.
She ain't doing shit.
Yeah, hey, she's doing the pinky thing. She's doing the pinky thing with Becky. It's pretty cool, right? Tea time, friendship. You and I don't have a friendship thing, right? We should. No.
We will form that bond.
And then
someday.
we'll inform Keith. We'll tweet Keith a picture. I love you, man.
And
so
I'll
then...
never see it because it's Twitter.
Yeah, true. But I'm gonna go with Alexa Bliss. I'm hoping that she retains the championship. Now we go to the SmackDown side with Naomi taking on Natalya.
Hey, remember
Keith?
when I said I didn't care about the last one?
Yeah.
Take that and multiply it by about 75, and you got my feelings on this one. The only thing that makes me hopeful for this match is that we get a Carmella cash-in. I think that would be the salvageable thing from this feud if it ends up with Carmella winning. But I don't know, man. Natalya, she's still around, and that's kind of about all it feels like with her. I can't really get excited for poor Natty, but I'm sure it'll be fine. I hope Carmella wins.
I kind of echo that. Now, Natalya is a weird thing because I can't stand her promos. I'm a heart. Best there is, like stealing all Bret Hart stuff. It annoys the living hell out of me. But at the same time, I have a lot of respect for Natalya because she's a good wrestler. She was one of the few good wrestlers in a time where the women's division was in a really bad place, and she stuck it out, and the division has gotten a lot better, and she's getting an opportunity. So I respect that. That being said, this matchup does not excite me at all, and I feel like it was set up in exactly this way so that Carmella could cash in and become women's champion. So that's what this looks like to me, because it doesn't seem like that they would go this direction any other way.
That really
this is
sucks,
probably
though.
gonna. Sorry to cut you off there, but this is probably gonna sound or harsher than I mean it. But we're about 2 or 3 years past Natalya's big moment.
Yeah. I think Natalya is one of the few stars where it's like, we're not calling her old, but it feels like your time happened and nobody realized it. Nobody realized, like, she had a moment.
So sad.
Yeah.
It was during the first run of Total Divas where everybody was behind Natty. She should have won the title then.
And then what sucks is, like, Ryan, you mentioned it, and it's what's going to happen. I think Carmella's going to cash in here, but then the entire crowd, I guarantee you, is not even going to be caring about the damn match. You're going to hear Carmella chants. You're going to hear chants that
They just want
sort of
something
show
exciting to happen.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, that really sucks. And I get it. Like, it's to Naomi and Natalya's challenge to make people care about the match, but everybody's already waiting for the end. They're not waiting for the ride. They're waiting to get off the ride, except they're not even on the damn thing yet. So
They're
that
gonna
really
do
sucks.
something pretty remarkable to get people invested. And I will say this, if there is no cash in, or no official cash in actually takes place, I'll go with Naomi, but I'm putting more eggs in the basket of Carmella cashing in.
I agree, and if there is no cash in, Naomi will walk away.
Same. I'm thinking that either she cashes in during the match, or funnily enough, like, Natalya wins and then proceeds to have a 2-minute championship reign, because then then Carmella comes out, and then Ellsworth becomes the women's champion.
Yeah.
And here we go, guys. I feel like it's been
I'm so
5
excited.
hours that we've been building up this match for a 10-hour pay-per-view. WWE Championship Fatal 4-Way, 4 slabs of meat. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman. Braun throwing chairs in the build-up to this match. That was so damn good. I'm still not over that.
Oh,
Keith,
God,
Keith, this is yours. This is your baby. It feels like the last month, people have just been telling us the slabs of meat are real. That's all you, Keith. Thank you for the meat.
has potential to be the greatest match of all time, where it is just these 4 meaty chunks of human being just go and beat the living hell out of each other. The one knock I will say about this match, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is not like there's disqualification in this match, right? This is not no DQ.
These matches are by default no DQ. Whenever it's fatal 4-way.
This match should be no DQ.
It is.
Oh my
it
God.
is.
Oh,
I literally just said like fatal 4 matches are no
Keith,
DQ.
it's opposite day for Keith right
It
now.
is opposite
The
day.
Usos
Keith
are
is
tag
off.
champs.
okay, perfect. Because this match should just be like a train wreck. They should just go and destroy each other. They should, oh my God, Braun Strowman should just rip Roman Reigns in half. Samoa Joe should choke out Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar should regain consciousness and like
Put
F5
the lotion down, Keith.
Braun Strowman through the ring.
Keith, put your hands up.
It should be the most insane thing we have seen in forever. Oh my God, I just want these 4 chunks of meat to rip each other apart. I'm so excited for this match. That being said, I honestly have no idea who wins. You can see a world where any of them walk out as Universal Champion. If I had to pick one, I think I'm going to go with Samoa Joe. I feel like Joe has the best chance. You know, maybe there are rumors going around that John Jones might be at SummerSlam. Maybe there's some shenanigans with him getting involved and costing Brock the match. Could see something like that, but I don't think the big Roman title reign is going to happen in a fatal 4-way. And as badly as I want it to happen, I don't think Braun Strowman's title reign happens right now. So it kind of leaves me with Samoa Joe by default. But this is a match where it is not about who wins. It is about what happens to get to that win. And I hope it is just 4 slabs of meat, like I've been saying for months, just beating the holy hell out of each other. Oh my God, just let this be a demolition derby of human being. And oh, it's going to be so good. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this match.
Ryan, how do you follow that?
I'm not sure, but I'm gonna damn well try. I mean, let's be real here. SummerSlam is a 1-match card.
Absolutely.
It is all about this match. This is the one match that everybody's actually
This
looking
match
forward
is
to.
the biggest party of the summer.
100%. There's nothing on this card that even comes close. And my prediction, how do I follow Keith's prediction? Well, why not with disappointment, right? I'm used to that. I think Brock Lesnar is going to retain, much to the dismay of literally everybody. Believe me, in my heart of hearts, I want Braun Strowman to win. I'll be happy if Samoa Joe wins, and I will be okay with Roman Reigns winning. The only person winning that would disappoint me is Brock Lesnar, but I think it will happen. Keith mentioned John Jones. No way in hell WWE helps promote a UFC match. No way in hell is that going to happen. Yeah, no way, Jose, will that ever happen. Brock Lesnar is going to win.
Before
we will go to the internet and we will complain and talk about a disappointment that SummerSlam is. Even though this match, I think, will still kick ass, the result is what everyone will be stuck on. Brock Lesnar wins. Sad face.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Braun Strowman. It's my pick, and I'm serious.
I am
serious.
That.
Think. I'm gonna lay the ground floor. I know, Ryan, you've been doing an excellent job of reconvincing me throughout this podcast. I'm gonna try to do the same to you. Okay. We've been so proud of how WWE has booked him. Like, for all the complaints that we have about Raw and SmackDown, they've been able to build up a believable monster. Here's the problem. Say Brock Lesnar is still the champion. Inevitably, Braun Strowman can no longer remain a monster because he needs to lose. At some point, something needs to happen. The same way eventually Brock Lesnar is going to lose. He doesn't need to get pinned in this match to lose. Here's the perfect way out to do whatever the hell you want to do. By beating Brock Lesnar for the championship by Braun Strowman becoming champion. Number one, it sets up that dream match that we kind of didn't even know we wanted between Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar. Number two, now it's all about
because there's the stipulation that Brock leaves, right? Does that even actually set something up? Even though I know stipulations
it's wrestling.
in WWE.
Like that is such a non-stipulation.
It can be a rematch way down the line, like Royal Rumble or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. He can leave.
Lesnar's quit via tout before he comes back.
Like, this is the guy that went from Raw to SmackDown because he wasn't happy with how he was being treated. Like all the way going back to the beginning of the brand splits, right? So I think that what's going to happen is that rematch isn't going to happen immediately. That's going to happen like at next year's WrestleMania or something. Like Brock's going to be done with a lot of his UFC commitments because he's going to be doing that. So you build up the next Brock Lesnar, except hey, this isn't a part-timer. He's actually a part of the show. He can contribute. And by him dominating people, it makes sense because he's a monster among men. He's a believable monster among men. And then you save the whole thing where it's like, well, he needs to lose eventually. No, he doesn't. He's the champion. And then it's a matter of who's going to take down that champion. Can that last for a year? Hell, we've seen worse. And Braun Strowman has improved tremendously. I think it can be a really fun challenge to see like who can beat him and then doesn't, because then it's not Roman Reigns. It's not anybody else. Maybe a Roman Reigns becomes champion eventually, and that's what happens. But right now, I think that would tell for the best story, and you replace a monster with another believable monster. Did I make a case for you, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, you made some decent points. And I can certainly, it wouldn't shock me to see somebody else besides, well, you know what, it would shock me if someone else besides Brock did win, but I definitely put it in the realm of possibility. That being said, I am still sticking with Lesnar.
Damn.
But I still feel like the whole reason this is a fatal four-way is to get the title off of Brock.
Oh, yeah.
Or to make you think it's a way to get the title off of Brock. Don't get me wrong. It's a great opportunity, and by all means, I think they should do it. I'm just saying what I'm picking, just what I think is going to happen versus what I want to happen.
Regardless of who wins, we need a champion on Raw. We need a presentable champion on Raw that doesn't just make appearances when it's being built up to the next pay-per-view. I'm not saying that he needs to defend the championship every week because that would be a bad idea, but we've had our Brock fix multiple times now. I think we can get it. We can take a rest for like a year until next year's WrestleMania or something. So, folks, that has been it for our SummerSlam predictions. If you're watching the video archive on the YouTube channel, we would love to know what you guys think. Who do you agree with the most? I think that we've actually had pretty mixed predictions, and even for the matches that we agree for different reasons, which is nice. Usually we've had some of these where it's just like, well, let's just get it out of the way. We all kind of agree, and we don't necessarily agree, and that tells for a better story. So, Ryan, I'm looking forward to listening to your review this Sunday, because I want to see, like, are you going to say you're right? Am I right? Like, is Keith right? I don't know what's going to happen there. We have three different scenarios.
Am I going to be able to summon the energy after 6 hours of SummerSlam? I definitely will. But I can't promise what state of mind I'll be in.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one.
Hopefully it's an excited one. Hopefully the main event delivers, and I'll be more than happy to have a positive mood going in. But we will find out for sure.
Yeah, something I wanted to mention quickly, one of the benefits of doing the podcast live on YouTube is that if you want to make sure you support us and also get something brought up, you can donate via Super Chat or via the Streamlabs donation link. We actually got a $10 donation from Cool X Gaming, somebody that we actually met in person during WrestleMania weekend, an awesome supporter. He wrote, "Keep up the good work, guys." He also had a quick question, just do you guys keep up with soccer? I don't, but maybe
Nope.
You guys do. No?
I'll when the World Cup happens every I think it's every like 2 or 4 years. See, that's how little I know. I'll try and pay a little bit of attention to that, but not any other soccer league.
Yeah, like for me, soccer is a common thing. Like we don't really keep up with football a lot in Puerto Rico, or the culture. Like you don't see a lot of football games, but you see a lot of soccer games. So that is something that does happen. So culturally, it is very much an active thing in Puerto Rico, but I don't really keep up inside of it. I love how people in the chat are saying Ryan will be dead on the inside for the review after a 6-hour show. 2-hour pre-show. A 2-freaking-hour pre-show. My God, let that sink in.
I mean,
for a
they'll
little
probably
bit.
only do one match in the first hour, one match in the second hour, but that's annoying because then that makes you have to watch that first hour.
You
They
just
should
answered
really
it.
bunch them. They should really bunch them together towards the end, so I could just skip that first hour. But no such luck.
And now, folks, remember you can also send us questions every week on Twitter by that cast. You can use the hashtag AskBT. You can comment on the social media images that we post on Tuesday or Wednesday, or you can simply send us an email to bytethatcast@gmail.com. Now, Keith, this may be the last time we hear you for a little while asking this or doing this portion. So make it count, man. Make it count.
Yeah, no pressure or anything, right? But all right, questions. Our first question comes from Bo S, who asks, Gents, with 2/3 of the Shield getting back together Monday night, it got me thinking a Shield reunion is inevitable. I can't help but think WWE messed up by not giving Roman Reigns new music 4 years ago like the rest of its members. We hear the Shield theme so much because it's Roman theme, so when they get back together, it won't be as impactful. I feel like it has been contributing to the reason why the hate for Roman Reigns is real. There's been no real evolution of his character. What are your guys' thoughts?
That's a good observation.
Yeah, I think there's some great points brought up here. When Evolution came back after freaking years of being away, hearing that theme again was like, whoa, like takes you back to 2003. You're like, wow, this is kind of cool. The fact that we've been hearing the Shield's theme every single week since they broke up really is like, music is a huge part of wrestling. Entrance themes really do matter. So I think 100% that does hurt the impact of an inevitable Shield reunion for sure. Especially because right now with Rollins and Ambrose as a tag team, they can't even really use the theme because that's Roman's theme.
And we get to hear more of that.
Yeah, one of the big reasons Roman was booed was because his character didn't really evolve at first, and he never changed his gear or his theme. So,
and he still went through the crowd for a long time.
He did. So he really hung on to everything for as long as possible, and I think that now we will see the repercussions of that for sure.
I'm trying to work through the timeline in my head, but has that theme been Roman Reigns' theme longer than it's been the Shield's theme at this point?
Huh.
It's pretty close.
Because when did they break up? Back in like 2014, early 2014?
Something
and yes,
like
at this
that,
point,
yeah.
It has been Roman's theme longer than the Shield's.
Let that settle in
The
for
Shield
a
was
second.
like a year and a half thing.
Yeah, year and a half, 2 years.
The New Day's
tops.
been together longer than the Shield.
Huh. But yeah, it's definitely going to dampen it when it does happen, because until Roman joins, they can't use that theme, and you've heard it for so long, and like I mentioned before, you've incorporated it, or like you've made it, that song is now Roman Reigns's. You don't think about the Shield more than you do Roman with that, so it's not going to be as impactful because of it. I agree with Bo here, where I do think that they dropped the ball with Roman Reigns when they didn't give him a new theme back in the day, but it felt like such an aggressive push, like, hey, y'all love the Shield, love Roman Reigns even more, that it all kind of contributed to that. And I think now going forward, we're going to see like kind of some aftershocks of that, the impact. Or I could be totally wrong and everybody's going to get washed up in the Shield hype that none of it actually matters, and we'll all be like, yeah, I still believe in the Shield.
I don't think it'll be as big of a deal as when DX got back together, because this has been teased a lot. Like, I remember when they first broke up, I think it was Ryan that said they shouldn't do this for years. Like, any kind of insinuation or reference that this could happen, it's been happening for a very long time. For like the past year and a half to 2 years, at some point there has been a Shield tease or a match that involves one of the Shield members taking on the other one, and they reference that. We haven't had just like 2 years where it's just been, here's this, and then we're going to pull it back. You didn't hear Triple H talk about Evolution every week, right? You let that marinate a little bit. Same thing with Randy. They were able to do their own things. But look, all this past few weeks, it shows people do care about the Shield. Because the moment that they fisted each other right there in the middle of that ring, people, like the crowd broke down, man. Like that crowd erupted with those fists in the middle of the ring.
You went there.
They believed in the Shield.
Well, so they put their fists out.
All right, so thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Gator Boy 1006.
He was a Gator boy. He said, "See you later, boy."
Yet so he asked a question to this show, and he asked, "How do you guys feel about Adam Cole coming to the WWE?" By the way,
Keith has no rhythm.
He was a boy in the Bullet Club, and he's in the company.
So all I know about Adam Cole is that he's dead. Beyond that, I don't know much about Adam Cole.
What?
He's dead in being the Elite. They killed Adam Cole.
Oh, okay, I'm like, dead. Okay, what's happening here?
He's a White Walker now.
Yes. The North remembers Stamford.
Yeah. See, I've not. I'll be honest. I've not seen an Adam Cole match. I've listened to one of his interviews on, I think, Sam Roberts' podcast. He seemed like an interesting individual, and I've heard a lot of hype around him. So the thing is, at this point, I really don't know what to expect, or I know exactly what to expect, rather, from NXT and who they sign, because we've seen this formula, right? They sign every single big name on the indies now, and then they face the NXT after like 2 pay-per-views. They face the NXT champion, become champion, and then eventually get moved to the main roster. So if I had to take a guess at what's going to happen, I would say exactly that. But there's a lot of they just keep signing everybody, so I really don't know. Who knows who's going to get that next spot that they keep putting people in.
I think he was the last big independent guy that people knew he was going to make his way into the WWE. I remember I listened to a Sam Roberts wrestling podcast interview with him, and just the way that he carried himself, really presented himself. At that point, I think he was the Ring of Honor champion. I knew, like, this is a big deal because this is a guy that acts like a big deal, but is also humble. Plus, he's got some kind of involvement with the Bullet Club, so he's definitely got that audience, right? But the Bullet Club didn't make him. This is a guy that for many years people were saying, hey, how come Sami Zayn's in the WWE? How come Samoa Joe's in the WWE? What's going on with Adam Cole? I know he suffered some injuries for a while, and that kept him out of action, but this is, after this, I think that we can now close the door on the current pack of independent guys getting in. I think from this point forward, it's going to be a little while longer, right? Because I think we've gotten who we really wanted, even though like Austin Aries is gone now, for example. I like it. A lot of potential. I'm happy he's in NXT. NXT needs a guy like that.
Yeah, and I mean, eventually somebody's going to have to fill that Bobby Roode-sized hole that will be in NXT. So seems like a good person to do it. Big old Roode hole. So thank you for the question. Our final question of this week's train wreck of a show comes from Joe W., who asks, do you think that they will put the title on Nakamura so Jinder can chase a non-American when they go to India? Seems like a pretty good reason on why that would happen.
I mean, hey, the money is in the chase, so I have no doubt that whether Jinder is champion or not, he will be involved in that main event scene going into that India tour. So there's a reason they've been building this up and why he's stuck around the title this long, and it's most likely for this event to really solidify him because, you know, as much as they want to build up Jinder on TV, I don't think it solidifies him in India until he goes there as a big deal in India. So, I mean, even though India is already a huge market for WWE, I think they really want to solidify a Indian superstar.
I don't know what kind of match will happen when that trip happens in September. I don't think it needs to be for a championship because we don't perceive wrestling the same way other cultures perceive wrestling, and we need to realize that, right? Like they can put him against whoever they deem is the bad guy there. They can put him up against Rusev. Like to us, it would be like Jinder versus Rusev. Why is that happening? We need to realize that we are on this side of the world. We don't perceive things the way other people do in like Australia, India, Glasgow. Shout out to Glasgow. All those different places won't realize it's the same kind of thing, right? So I think whoever's the champion or whoever's chasing for the championship is irrelevant. But I do not see Jinder versus Cena. I don't think that will happen in any capacity because I think that the crowd will still cheer Cena. But then again, this is me from Puerto Rico saying that. So that's another percentage. Hey, I just got to bring it up because Joe W was actually in the chat. He's a fellow Patron supporter. Mentioned, what about Kenny Omega? I'm crazy about the fact that he's not in the WWE in the independent scene. Like, I agree. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know. I'll save that for another day. I think Kenny Omega has far exceeded. He can probably make a lot more money right now than he ever would in WWE. Like, unless his goal is just to be in the WWE for the sake of being in the company, I think they're economically doing pretty good right now.
Yeah, I can't see that future in the near future. Maybe one day.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, we never thought AJ Styles would be facing John Cena, but here we are. So,
and AJ Styles winning that match.
Yes, yeah. So you never truly know what's going to happen. Kenny Omega is the biggest name not in WWE right now, so it is probably more beneficial for him to be, milking that for everything he can while he can.
Exactly. And I just want to add one quick thing because you mentioned how wrestling is perceived in the rest of the world. If you want to see an eye-opening look into the rest of the world, go look at the WWE YouTube channel comments. They are fascinating.
Oh.
You get a good look.
Please.
You get
I don't
a
know if I
real
could, in good
scary
faith,
look.
recommend that.
No.
It's not a good time, but it's a fascinating time.
Don't do it if you're having a good day, because it'll mess up that day. Do it like if you're down and in trouble, you need some love and care, then watch that. That'll make you feel worse. And with that, we just want to thank everybody for a lot of the awesome questions. And now we're going to be getting to the Byte That weekly update, which is going to be an emotional roller coaster because we got a little bit of everything, including something that Keith has to reveal to the world.
I do. So might as well start it with this. It's time for me to go on a pilgrimage of shame where, I apparently don't have the edge I used to. So I need or Christian. So I think I need to leave and go get back that get back that edge. See, can't even say that properly.
He lost his smile.
I lost my smile, you guys, and it's time for me to take a little break. Maybe like a roughly 4 to 6 week break where I need to say farewell to the lovely Byte Club and make some changes in my life. So I will be back. But the next month or so will be a Keithless show. That might be some great news for some of you. That might be terrible news. But that's something that has to unfortunately happen. I'll still be around a little bit.
Hashtag fire Keith.
Hashtag fire
Hashtag
Keith.
Keith be gone.
Keith. Hashtag sabbatical Keith. Hashtag permaban
Yes.
Keith.
Yes.
We love you, Keith.
All of those things.
Yes.
But while I'm gone, everybody listening, I just ask one thing of you. Please don't let them screw this show up. Just keep them in check. Keep these other
keep
two
the
guys in
slabs
check.
of meat
You
active.
deserve it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I see the chat. Thank you, Keith. All right. Hashtag thank you, Keith.
Yes, thank you all. And this isn't a permanent goodbye, but it's see you down the road. Like mid-September-ish, give or take. So until then, I now bid you all adieu.
And
Goodbye.
Ryan will grow a full beard until then. Keith, you're still here on this episode, man. Don't leave. You still got to edit this episode.
This is now a ghost.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Well,
Ryan,
All right, I hate to do a hard transition here, but I do feel like we should mention this on the show, and I think a lot of people are familiar with what's going on with Ric Flair. I think it's absolutely worth talking about on the show. Um, as a lot of you know, Ric Flair went in for, I think it was a routine checkup or whatever, and things took a serious turn. So I don't want to get too far into details because there's a lot of conflicting reports, but I know his girlfriend confirmed that Ric Flair had successful surgery. She mentioned that there's multiple organ problems going on with him right now, and he's still very much in critical condition. So obviously, all of us at BT, we're wishing the best. You know, we're sending our love, our support, our positive thoughts to Ric Flair and his family, and hoping the Nature Boy pulls through because he is, he is a great part of wrestling, and who doesn't love Ric Flair? We want to see him pull through. We know the Nature Boy has to make it. So we're sending our love, our positive thoughts to him and his family.
If Ric Flair could survive a plane crash, he sure as hell can survive this. So Nature Boy, woo! Seriously, it's Ric Flair is one of the all-time greats. Like when you think about Hulk Hogan, when you think about Macho Man, Ric Flair, those guys are the pillars of professional wrestling. So yeah, Ric Flair, please pull through. We'll be making sure to provide any kind of like not necessarily update, but the Byte Club a perspective on what's happening, and our love and support for Ric Flair will definitely keep going right here.
So going to a lighter note, what we have coming up for Byte That, of course, I mentioned this weekend we've got NXT TakeOver happening. Juan will try and get a review up for that night, Saturday night, and then of course Sunday night following SummerSlam, I will be doing a SummerSlam review. My plan is to do a live review, but just stick to our Twitter at ByteThatCast. I'll update you if anything changes with that, but as of now, the plan is to do a live review following the 6-hour pay-per-view. Of course, we also have a video up on the YouTube channel and also available on our audio feed, BT Plus, or Byte That Plus rather. Has TV evolved in WWE? Has not. Talking strictly about WWE as a television show, we can see that maybe things haven't changed while other TV shows have gotten edgier, more dramatic, deeper characters, and maybe the reason a lot of interest in WWE and ratings have gone down is because TV around it has actually gotten a lot better. So that's one of our best videos. We highly encourage you to check that out on YouTube or Byte That Plus. If you want to help out the show, there's several ways to do so. One of which is, of course, to leave a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or Stitcher. Leaving a review really helps us grow. It helps more people, more wrestling fans find us. And that's a huge deal into spreading the word. You can also go the extra mile by supporting us over on patreon.com/ByteThat. We got a lot of great perks at the $1 level as well as the $5 level. Any amount really helps. There's some great perks, including a Discord channel where you can chat with us. You get early access to things such as our Fan Friday. And for $5 patrons, we do a private show at the top of every month. That's an exclusive show where we interact directly with them. The first one we had was in August. That was a lot of fun. So if you want to get in on that, head on over to patreon.com/ByteThat to show your support. We'll have a Fan Friday up this Friday over on the YouTube channel. So make sure to check that out. We actually talk about if WWE was to add a lower card championship. Is that a good idea right now in the current WWE climate? We go over that this Friday. So that's going to do it for us for this week. We look forward to SummerSlam. Stay tuned for our NXT review and SummerSlam review this weekend.
Goodbye, everyone.
And say goodbye to Keith.
Keith,
see you all later.
Keith, close out the show. You get to close the show out now. Say goodbye, man.
Juan, Ryan, I'd love to say I'm going to miss you. And I will.
I love you, Brad.
So, thank you everyone for watching, listening, whatever you have done And thank you, Juan and Ryan, for being amazing co-hosts and friends. I will see you all down the road. Goodbye. Good night.